Slippery elm is a remarkable herb. It not only gives form to the stool, it coats, soothes and lines.
Health news, we turn our focus to one of the most commonly diagnosed digestive disorders, irritable bowel syndrome, or IBS.
I said, "Oh, are you on medication?" "Yes," and he listed the anti-inflammatories and the cortisones.
3 or 4 years ago, I started having a lot of bloating and discomfort and all of that.
I gave him slippery elm 4 times a day, morning, noon, 6 p.m. and 9 p.m. at night. In this lecture, as usual, I'm going to be talking about you. And I'm going to be talking about a very interesting part of your body called the gastrointestinal tract.
If you've been on the hunt for cures for those pesky gut problems, today might just be your lucky day, especially if you haven't yet discovered Dr. Barbara O'Neill's seminar on gut health. With gut ailments affecting over 80% of the population, you or someone you know is likely dealing with issues like stomach burns, irritable bowel syndrome, or digestive enzyme deficiencies. This must-watch video digs into everything you never knew about gut health. Plus, it offers practical advice on the herbs you can use to heal these conditions.
They gave me medicine, and it didn't really help.
Modern medicine certainly has its perks, with practical and reliable treatments for gut issues. However, there's a catch. While these medications might bring relief, long-term use can wreak havoc on your gut flora, harm your liver and kidneys, and strip away your digestive mucosa. It's like using a sledgehammer to swat a fly. Sure, it gets the job done, but it also leaves a lot of damage in its wake.
The World Health Organization has warned that with the current surge in antibiotic resistance, the world is at risk of slipping into a post-antibiotics era in which common infections will once again mean certain death.
Sometimes, these drugs can make the harmful bacteria in our systems so strong and resistant that nothing seems to help. But forget all that for now, because Dr. Barbara O'Neill has got us covered with some fantastic gut health secrets that could change your health trajectory forever, just as they have for so many who attend her health retreats. It's a no-brainer, so pay close attention as we've packed all her brilliant insights into this short video.
Have a look at what happens to the food on the plate. To break it down to microscopic little particles that then can get absorbed into the blood.
We'll start with an overview of digestion, breaking it down phase by phase with Dr. O'Neill's top tips for each stage. Then, we'll dive into those priceless yet incredibly affordable herbs that tackle gut issues so effectively that you'll wonder why you haven't heard of them before. Dr. O'Neill's seminar might just be the ticket to a healthier, happier gut.
So the mouth is the first organ of digestion. The enzyme that's released in the mouth that breaks down starch is called ptyalin. The next teeth that come through are the molars. Now the molars come through back here. Molars grind. And when the molars are fully through, then ptyalin is released by the glands in the mouth, and ptyalin breaks down starch. You see, what we grind, that is your grains. So until the molars are there, baby should not have any grain. And what's the first food that mothers are told to give baby as a rule? Cereal, pure starch.
First up, we can see ptyalin, also known as salivary amylase. Dr. Barbara O'Neill explains how this enzyme breaks down starch and the surprising way it impacts newborn babies. And believe me, that's just the tip of the iceberg of what she's got in store for us today on gut health.
That's what it should be. That's what it should be. And it's not until the molars are fully through, saturated fat begins its breakdown in the mouth. And lingual lipase is the enzyme that breaks down the saturated fat.
So, yeah, saturated fats too, like coconut oil. Did you know that their digestion starts in the mouth? This early digestion is one reason why coconut oil is so beneficial and rarely causes digestive issues. Plus, it's packed with essential minerals.
The food comes down the esophagus, through this little gateway here called the cardiac sphincter, and into the stomach. So the stomach is the next organ of digestion, and the stomach is not an alkaline environment, it is an acid environment. Now what's released here is pepsinogen, and the other enzyme that's released there is hydrochloric acid.
Now we're moving into the stomach, and Dr. Barbara O'Neill has some crucial insights about this stage of digestion that we often overlook or don't even know about.
Acid environment, pepsinogen and hydrochloric acid unite to release pepsin. And pepsin is the enzyme that breaks down protein. You see, hydrochloric acid not only unites with pepsinogen to release pepsin that breaks down the protein, but hydrochloric acid is antifungal, antibacterial. Something also is released here, and that's the intrinsic factor. The intrinsic factor is very important for the absorption of B12.
This intrinsic factor, for those unfamiliar, is essential for transporting vitamin B12 from your food to its final absorption in the body. Without it, you could be at a high risk of severe anemia and other vitamin B12 deficiency-related diseases.
B12 deficiency, the first thing I look at is the function of the stomach. And one of the signs that someone has low hydrochloric acid is they've eaten a meal, 6 hours later, they're still feeling full. You see, if we had nice strong hydrochloric acid, it breaks down the food, of course with the connection of pepsinogen quite quickly. Too much acid in their stomach. If someone says, I've got an over-acid stomach, my question is, how do you know? Oh, I can feel it burning. Oh, the problem's not the acid, the problem might be you're dehydrated and you haven't got enough mucus because mucus is 99% water.
This isn't just about it. Let's hear what she has to say about those who think their digestive issues are too intense to be a simple dehydration problem.
I know it's acid because it keeps coming up here. Well, the problem's not the acid. The problem is this little gate here. You see that little gate called the cardiac sphincter, it should be closed, and if it's closed, no acid will come up. So why would acid come up? Because that little gate is weak. Why would it be weak? A lot of people today have breakfast like a pauper, lunch like a pauper, and dinner is the king and the queen together. And then they lie down at night and gravity presses against that little cardiac sphincter, weakening it.
We can definitely see the issue here. A moderate amount of night food can help prevent problems if you think things have gotten out of hand. And if you're reaching for antacids to fix the situation, Dr. Barbara O'Neill says think again. Research shows they might actually increase your risk of colon cancer.
And if someone takes antacid to stop the acid going up, what's my next question? What's going to break the protein down now? Huh? And if someone says to me, I've been on antacids for 25 years, is it working? 25 years? Digestion is a chemical process, and that whole reaction I just showed you only happens in an acid environment. If people are drinking with their meals, it waters down the acid so you don't get that connection. And it's an American habit, isn't it? Certainly an Australian habit.
And what about the age-old debate on drinking water while eating? Dr. O'Neill settles this one today. She advises against drinking water during meals unless you're choking or having trouble swallowing.
And a lot of people think they just wash the food down. Wash the food down, they basically wash all their digestive enzymes away. We should be stopping water ideally half an hour before the meal, resume about an hour and a half after the meal. That hour and a half allows time for those digestive enzymes to start their breakdown. If someone's thirsty after a meal, by all means have a mouthful.
All these insights come from thoroughly researched digestive timelines of the human stomach. This isn't just some fancy info, it's designed to help us respect our digestive process so we can get the best nutrients from our meals.
So what's that between meals? That's 5 to 6 hours between. Surely not for children. Do you know they've got the same digestive tract? Children say they're hungry when they're bored. Have you noticed? when a hunger pang is experienced between meals, it's often dehydration. When the water's not doing it anymore, it usually is time. It is time to eat.
I guess that's clear. Understanding the digestive phase and giving your stomach the rest it needs is crucial. Timing your water intake can help enzymes work their magic. And knowing when to eat next prevents overfilling your stomach and risking acid overflow and burns.
A meal at night that would digest quickly would be fruit or a salad or soup. Big growing boys can have 4 bowls of soup.
Next, we're digging into what happens in the duodenum once food leaves the stomach. Don't get too comfy, because Dr. Barbara O'Neill is about to tackle some bad habits we all need to correct. Your gut's about to get a serious upgrade.
And come to the first part of the small intestine, which is called the duodenum. And the duodenum has 2 main organs that are emptying into it. Notice we've got the liver here, the gallbladder. The gallbladder is a reservoir for bile, and that bile duct comes down, connects with the neck of the pancreas and empties into the duodenum. And bile is an enzyme that breaks down long-chain fatty acids, so this is your unsaturated fats. And pancreatic lipase does the final breakdown of the unsaturated fats. They're the long-chain fatty acids. So bile starts it, pancreatic lipase finalizes it.
We're talking about the dynamic duo of fat breakdown, something most of us are familiar with. But it's worth revisiting because Dr. Barbara O'Neill is about to shed light on something crucial about our eating habits.
The pancreas also releases pancreatic amylase. And remember, ptyalin is a salivary amylase, so the amylase salivary amylase ptyalase starts the digestion, put on hold in the stomach, comes to the duodenum, and pancreatic amylase finalizes the starch digestion.
Another special variant of amylase that tackles starch breakdown in the duodenum. So let's keep going.
Is trypsin. And trypsin is the enzyme that finalizes protein digestion.
Yeah, another sequence for the proteins after pepsin breakdown, followed by trypsin, the final enzyme gnawing down the proteins.
Chymotrypsin. So these are 2 enzymes that break down protein.
Looking at this, it's clear that the duodenum plays a pivotal role in digestion, with the pancreas handling some of the most crucial functions. It's where a lot of the magic happens, making it a key player in how well we process our food.
Now, one of the great things about saturated fat, it does not need bile. It does not need pancreatic lipase because the breakdown began in the mouth. So people with liver, gallbladder problems, pancreatic problems, what's the best fat for them? Coconut, yeah.
Here's another benefit of coconut oil. Even if you're having trouble with your pancreas or liver, you can still use coconut oil to replace those unsaturated fats. It supports vitamin D synthesis and provides essential minerals and nutrients. So, it's a great way to boost your health even with existing issues.
And if the person ate too fast and didn't give time for the ptyalin to begin starch digestion, and undigested starch gets to the pancreas, pancreatic amylase starts the breakdown, whereas it should be finishing it.
From this, it's clear that eating at a moderate pace and properly using your teeth to chew food, so those mouth enzymes can do their job, are key to good digestion and keeping your organs running smoothly for years to come. Spoiler alert, chew wisely and don't rush.
Part of the small intestine, it's really just roughage. I said, how many bowel movements do you average a day? Because I did a health assessment on him. He said 6. I said, oh, that's a lot. He said, yes, I've got irritable bowel. He said, yes, recently the doctor said I can do no more for you. He loved bread, he loved meat, he loved dairy, and he loved sugar, and he loved a couple of scotches every night.
You can see the many exciting health suggestions on this topic because the gut is very large and requires time to discuss every practice and medication for the best of its health. For now, we'll wrap up this video, but stay tuned for the sequel that will reveal unbelievable natural cures for all bowel diseases, including irritable bowel syndrome, diarrhea, fistulas, hemorrhoids, and many more. You definitely don't want to miss it, especially if you want to learn about 100% herbal medications that you were unaware of, and incorporate these healthful habits into your life and guts.
Licorice is a root, and buckthorn and cascara are barks, so they all need a gentle simmer.
Dr. O'Neill's approach might not be a one-size-fits-all solution, but her ideas certainly provide food for thought. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below.